Exciting and special coming up at the stroke of midnight. We can give you a little peek at it now if you'd like to get a head start. You'll get all the information coming up in 1 hour from now at midnight Eastern time. But it is the Marine Collagen Peptides. This is a product that is really remarkable. It's a remarkable product. It's a beauty product. It's a health product. It has so many great things combined with this unique formula of marine collagen peptides with MSM. Hi, Andrew Lessman.
Hi.
Good to have you back.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Final day until October.
Final day for more than 3 months.
Wow.
So we're going to be busy creating all sorts of new exciting things for the end of the year. But what's most important, this is the last opportunity during a visit. All my products go on special purchase pricing. So if there's any product you're getting close to needing to reorder, it's better to order it now because in a couple of days it goes up to its regular HSN price, just so everyone knows. But in terms of marine collagen peptides, what's remarkable about this product or this ingredient, and I was just looking at the numbers before I left my room, before I came on. And if you look at the amino acids that make up any protein, if you look at human, say, protein structure, and you look at the protein structure of other animals, there's significant variation in the amino acid composition of those proteins. What's remarkable, if you look at the protein, the peptides that we use here that comes from fish, it's almost the exact amino acid composition of human skin and human connective tissue, human collagen. That's why marine collagen was the original subject of research. Actually, long before they broke down the amino acids, the original subject of research about 100 years ago in Japan. But if you look at the science today, the reason why marine collagen peptides has the science that it has is because these marine collagen peptides are such a perfect match for our collagen. And most of us don't realize that collagen is the predominant protein in our body. Even if you look at something like the heart, obviously the heart is a muscle, but the structure of the heart, the chambers of the heart, the valves of the heart, the architecture, the function of the heart, yes, the pump requires musculature. It's collagen that's creating all that structure. That's the composition of the valves of our heart, the chambers of our heart, the lining of our heart. So I could say the same about skeletal muscle. I could say the same about bone. I could say the same about our skin, because the healthy collagen structure of our skin is skin that's less inclined to wrinkling. So, and of course, when we talk about joints, you can't talk about joint structure without talking about the collagen matrix that's necessary to integrate the structure of our joints. So when you talk about collagen, you're talking about the predominant protein in our body, and as such, you're talking about something that plays a major role in structures and organs in our body, that as that collagen cross-links, as it loses its elasticity and its organization, that's the aging process as we know it, whether we're talking about wrinkling, whether we're talking about cellulite. These are the sorts of changes in collagen that make these things more apparent to us. So we'll talk about that at midnight, but just that was a quick sneak peek. And the other thing I'll talk about throughout the day, there's absolutely no doubt that we have lowered the price of our collagen over the decade or more. A lot of companies only recently discovered it. It's become very popular in the last year or two. For us, more than a decade. Unfortunately, because of that popularity, I know that the price of this, the regular price of this, is likely going up 25% in the coming months, and that's unavoidable, unfortunately.
Here we go. So again, stay tuned. You'll get more details on that coming up at midnight. You might want to get an early start, get those orders placed.